But we started out with the Intercontinental title match between Apollo Crews and Big E. And I've heard this talked about, but I had not seen it until just now. They have made Apollo Crews a Nigerian warrior carrying a spear.
You know, on John Arezzi's Pro Wrestling Spotlight Then and Now, like a month ago or a couple months ago, we got to the point in 1990 where Tony Atlas, who was actually a really good heel in ICW, despite it being ICW.
Yes.
He was really good. I mean, I wish we had seen more of that on a big stage.
I actually saw some of that. That's why I tried to book him in 1993 as a heel.
He was great. And then Vince re-signed him and made him Saba Simba.
yeah, God, with the giant a headdress that made Wahoo McDaniel's headdress look like a parakeet, right?
Yep.
And here's the modern day modern coming of Spear Chucker Jones. What the fuck? That was MASH, right?
I don't know.
You remember Spear Chucker Jones?
I have no idea what you're talking about, and I'm making the YouTube edit noise just in case.
This was I'm not even, that's not it's a fucking famous goddamn movie character. Oh, for God's sake. Anyway, the point is, in this day and age, and not even, they don't even pretend that he's really a Nigerian guy that's come here from Nigeria and has a Nigerian accent because he's from Nigeria and he's a Nigerian warrior carrying a spear. It's a guy that has already been there that suddenly now is speaking with a Nigerian accent. And I guess, what is that fucking DNA tree, the commercials? He found out he was 72% Nigerian. How did this fucking happen? How do you just take somebody and say, no, you're somebody completely different next week? What the fuck? And how is this getting by? I can't make a 30-year-old chicken joke without people getting fucking losing their shit. And he's got a black guy coming out here with a fucking spear. What the fuck is going on?
Did you ever see him on the indies? I never did, but I remember his name was Uha Nation. Was that what it was? I remember reading it, but I never saw him.
I have no idea what you're... Oh, wait. Was that...
He worked for Gabe.
Okay, I remember seeing that name in print and go, a wrestling guy, a wrestler's name is Uha Nation. I didn't understand that because I'd never seen the person to attach it to the name or the gimmick, understand what the gimmick was or whatever.
Well, I don't believe it was this. I can't imagine it was this.
I can't... I think we would have heard. It would have probably been brought up by now if Gabe Sapolsky had a black guy out there carrying a spear. People, when poor Kamala died, people were like, well, of course that would not ever be able to be allowed today. And he made a fucking career out of it, but this guy's starting from scratch. Anyway, look up Spear Chucker Jones.
I just did.
So, huh?
I just did. It was Fred Williamson.
There you go. Who was a badass.
Yeah.
All right. So now does it have to be edited off of YouTube?
I don't know because I looked it up.
In context.
I looked it up and everything I'm seeing is MASH was racist. So I don't even know how to react to this.
There was the whole fucking idea it was a parody. It's a comedy movie. And it was his fucking nickname because he was the fucking football player and he threw the fucking... Oh my God. Anyway, there would have been a great fucking gimmick. Spear Chucker Jones could have come in along with T.L. Hopper and the Goon and Freddie Joe Floyd and nobody would have even noticed. Do you know somebody sent me a transcript of just a couple of paragraphs of Bruce Pritchard, bless him, the Artful Dodger, defending this was a modern day interview, not like 20 years ago, but to this day, that the fucking, those horrible gimmicks, 95, 96, the garbage man and the plumber and the fucking poor Freddie Joe and the Goon and all that goofy shit, Duke Drosy, I love the person. God, what a garbage man. It comes and brings a garbage can. And he was basically saying he was still defending it. He was saying, oh, well, those guys could wrestle, but we wanted to give them personality so people would care about them. The reason why nobody cared about any of those people is because of the gimmicks that they gave them. And that's the same shit he would say to me in 1996 when I would look at him like he had turds hanging out of his mouth and go, why are you doing this? Why are we doing this to these people? Well, Vince wants to give them a personality or something you can hang your hat on about them. No. The reason why that they were instantly dismissed out of hand as talents that belonged on the top of the card or in any place on the card was because of the ridiculous, fucking overdone, cartoon, stereotyped gimmicks. Gimmicks, I say. Anyway.
That boob is just like a Scientology PR agent. He spurts out such garbage. Like
you saw out there you were calling Bruce the boob.
I am calling Bruce the boob. It's just like he's been indoctrinated.
I thought you were talking about if I can't say Spear Chucker Jones, you can't say boob on YouTube.
I can absolutely say boob.
I thought you were talking in the sexual sense, boob.
I could say he's a tit. I mean, I could say either or. But it's just it's like he's been indoctrinated and he's messed up. And I have a problem with you calling him the Artful Dodger.
He's messed up.
I have a problem with you calling him the Artful Dodger. I think that's really disparaging towards the memory of Jack Wilde.
Oh, hey, points there. Consider yourself.
Consider yourself at home. But now, hey, also, reminder, by the way, reminder, the Artful Dodger got caught by the end.
Say again? Oh, yes.
Maybe they'll send Bruce to Australia. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
But anyway, so it was Apollo Crews versus Big E. And it's nice to see grown men having a wrestling match. Big E speared Crews through the ropes where Crews was on the apron, and Big E hit him with a spear. They both went to the floor, and that was nice for guys of that size. But I guess now it's just the presentation and the overall malaise of WWE wrestling, if I can call it that, is just so clean, scrubbed, blood. I mean, once again, they're great athletes. They're all well trained, but does anybody the shows with the things that they put on these shows, as we'll talk about, when guys are trying to have matches, even when they have a good match or they just try to have a good match, it's all ruined when you get to one of the murders or science fiction segments. But in this one, I believe Big E was supposed to be the baby face, but he got some pretty obnoxious heat on the heel for the first part, and then the heel turned the tables, made a comeback on the baby face. Either one of these guys looks good enough, is a good enough athlete, is a good enough worker that they could have worked the territories, they could have been used and been featured. But I'm not talking about these gimmicks. I'm talking about these human beings here. Can you imagine how Bill Watts or Eddie Graham or anybody would have presented fucking either one of these guys? And they wouldn't have had them carrying a spear in the 70s. But former football players and the backgrounds that they've got, they would be dressed as half-ass serious motherfuckers, and they would be involved in serious personal issues with other people. But here it's some guys in some fancy outfits doing some stuff, and then suddenly, after a series of awkward kind of reversals that neither one of these guys has the style that they ought to be doing. It's cruiserweight shit. They're fucking go behind, small package, whatever the fuck. Suddenly, Big E got the 3 count, but was it an accident? Was it a fuck up? Was it what they were trying to do, but they did it awkwardly? Or did it look like that the referee just counted 3 because the shoulders were down, and then Apollo Crews got up and beat the shit out of the guy that pinned him because that wasn't the finish? All of those things were in play. What do you think?
I think all of those things were in play. I got a kick out of him speaking with the Nigerian accent during the match.
Oh yeah. I mean, yelling, and when he was beating the shit out of him afterwards, after when he realized that shit, maybe he was even supposed to have won, or something else was supposed to happen. He's yelling at him in the fake Nigerian accent, and I heard somebody say they covered it by that he's paying tribute to his Nigerian ancestry. But if you were pissed off and somebody just stole something from you and beat you in a fight accidentally and you're mad, are you going to affect the tribute accent while you're trash talking them as you're kicking the shit out of them back? What?
By the way, if you're going to make him a Nigerian prince, the name Uha Nation would have been better than Apollo Crews.
No, it should have been the Ha Ha Nation. At this point,